Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast.
Boom! What is going on, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm creeping a reel.
Did you make your Instagram post? Did it happen in time?
I did. Yeah, I just did it on the story real quick. I like having the clickable link so people can just click and just follow right there too.
I'm not mad about it one bit. So if you are watching on YouTube, you are getting the barrage of Reptile Talk for the last couple of weeks. And if you're listening audio only, then you're getting a weekly episode. Hopefully you're happy about that. And if you cannot wait, if you're like, I need as much Reptile Talk as possible, then you need to go over to YouTube at the Reptile Talk Podcast, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, and then you can be flooded with Reptile Talk episodes, whether some weeks we have just 1 or 2 episodes happening. Other weeks we have like 5, 6 episodes we have during the week. So if you want that barrage of Reptile Talk, head on over to YouTube and check that out.
That's right.
Yeah. Otherwise, you get it once a week. And on top of that, just like every episode, this episode is brought to you by Black Box Cages. Bam. So go check them out. Blackboxcages.com. Have the fastest turnaround time of any cage manufacturer in the industry. Some amazing, innovative instances for caging and racks. They're always trying to improve safety and just create awesome custom improvements on rack systems. They've just started working on arboreal racks as well. So go check them out, blackboxcages.com. Go get yourself a new cage, and if you use code Reptile Talk in checkout, you can save a little off the top. And who doesn't want to save money right now when everything is so damn expensive? So
True.
Use code Reptile Talk in checkout and save yourself a little bit off the top. Rob,
What's good, man?
how's it going, dude? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually really toasty right now. Usually my room, my bedroom is a little bit cooler than my living room, which is my reptile room. But I don't know why. It's probably because it's actually pretty warm out right now compared to how it's been the last couple weeks. So I actually enjoying the toasty weather. I am not a cold person. I cannot stand the cold. I hate being cold. I hate when the weather is below 70 degrees. I need it to be like at least 78 for me to be comfortable.
That's fair. This is and I was gonna say I'm gonna say that is 100% a fact. Coming from somebody who has lived with Rob, worked with Rob, cold Rob is not happy Rob.
No,
it's just that simple.
And you know that like when we would be at Nerd, it would be like, I don't know, 80 degrees, and sometimes I'd still wear a hoodie while I'm up there working. You're like,
that's true.
Are you okay right now?
Yeah, there was genuine concern. I'm not even gonna lie. There was genuine concern. It's like, look, bro, I know you don't like being cold, but we're working in the bowels of hell, and
they had fans blowing all the time, and I hate cold, windy air on me.
Nah, it wasn't cold. It was warm.
It was, but it was still windy, and I can't handle it.
That's fair. That's fair. Oh, the joys of working in large reptile facilities where air movement is important and also so is heat.
Yes. And how are you doing right now? You chilling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited. There's more Amazon stuff happening, so I'm super happy. I made a post on Facebook. If you're listening to this in sequence, it's already taken care of. It's already handled. But if you're watching this on YouTube right now, then you can go check it out. I made a post and it was basically like, who's interested in subadult and adult Borneos and bloods? And I have a handful of people that have commented on that post that I need to go send lists to. because I'm literally downsizing on like everything to be able to make space for Amazons. And there's some cool stuff that's coming in that could be coming in, still working a few details out, that will take up a lot of space. So so I need to make as much space as possible. But yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm just excited. I'm also excited for it to not be cold anymore.
Although we technically are just moving into wintertime right now, so it's probably going to get cold again. Yeah, I know.
Okay. By the time this airs, it'll be when is it? I don't know. You're listening to it now, so you know when it is, but it'll be a little warmer.
Or colder.
No, warmer. Positive thoughts, Rob. Positive thoughts.
True.
Oh my gosh. But yes, I'm super excited about tonight. We're doing a double header if you're watching on YouTube. So I'm super excited for round 2. And I'm sorry, my phone is totally glitching out because I bring up everybody's account so that I can make sure we talk about things that we actually want to make sure we touch on. And my phone has just decided to fail me. This is frustrating. So I'm gonna figure that out in a second. But let's get Kina in here from Exotic Entities.
Hello. Boom! Let's go.
How's it going?
Going good. How are you?
Can't complain. We're excited. Yes. It's been a long day for me, but I'm here for it. I'm all excited to just talk reptiles to close out my day. How can you not be happy about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up at like
so nervous.
No, you don't gotta be nervous.
I haven't done a podcast in like a hot. I think the last time I did it was like 2-3 years ago. So I'm like, oh man.
I know. I was like looking. I was like, there's a lot that's happened since last time that you've done one of the like a podcast. So we got to talk about all the things. So many cool things that have happened. So,
hell yeah.
For people who might not know if your journey in reptiles, if you want to do like a bridge, a consolidated version of what brought you to where you're at today in reptiles, what do you got? I want to hear it.
So this first started. I was going to college and I wanted God, I'm so nervous. Dear God.
You're okay.
You're good.
I wanted a pet in my dorm, and I was allergic to dogs and cats, even though I have dogs and cats now, which is whatever. But I wanted a pet, so I decided, I'm going to just get this little ball python, and from there, this little ball python is hatched into an obsession, an unhealthy obsession. But
it's only unhealthy if you ask a regular person who doesn't keep reptiles. If you ask anyone who keeps reptiles, you're like, you have a good number of reptiles.
Like that's it. You got a bump.
That's it.
Right, that's it. I think it's really only unhealthy if the one ball python becomes 100 ball pythons. That's when it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Or it turns into 10 Burmese pythons.
Oh well, we're not talking about the critically insane, Rob. Oh gosh.
So your first ball python, did you just get like a normal one, or did you like get into like the morph stuff immediately?
I got I just know off the bat I was like, oh, it's yellow, it's pretty. It's a crystal. I still have him to this day. He's
hell yeah.
With me.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna keep him forever because he really sparked my passion, so he's not going anywhere. And then I got into. From there, I got like a little bit bigger, got into like bigger constrictors, and then realized my heart's with like more colubrids for the most part. I still love like my southern white lips, but it's like that and like 80% Asian colubrids. And
hell yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Asian colubrids that you got, and you produce some Vietnamese Blue Beauties, and those things are absolutely incredible.
They're crazy. I love them.
Yes. What was Vietnamese Blue Beauties? Was that like one of your like goal species that you really wanted to get into, or was that something that you like were like, okay, I'm gonna get these, and then if these work out, I'll work with some other stuff?
So I just kind of I was in the realm of, again, just a lot of like pythons, like ball pythons. I was like planning on retics for a while. I just have my one now. I had Burmese pythons, and then I went to a show, and I remember seeing it was a cave dwelling rat snake, and a Vietnamese blue beauty, and I think a Taiwanese beauty. And I was like, wow, I really like those. And I got a Vietnamese pair like later on, and then I produced those. And now this year I'm gonna try to do my cave dwelling rat snakes. I just think
Yes.
I have this like really this thing where I like my snakes to have like attitude, like personality. They'll keep me on my toes.
Yes.
That's why I have like bull snakes, pine snakes. They're just crazy, insane little guys.
Yes.
Boyga too.
The thing is,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel like ball python people get really complacent, and they're like, they think of it more like a mug, where they like pick it up and put it over here, and they barely even look at it, you know.
Mhm.
And then if you go into a cave dwelling rat snake's enclosure and you
Yeah.
just try to grab it,
Good luck with that.
it's gonna grab you back, is what I'm saying.
Yes, 100%.
I
100%.
love Ridley eyes so much. They're like probably one of my favorite Asian colubrids.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's just I love seeing some of the different localities and the different variation that can exist within them. I forgot which ones were the ones that Kevin had. Were those Cameroon locality? Do you remember, Rob?
I don't remember. I didn't even know that he had locality on them.
Yeah, I just remember like the first time I opened up those enclosures and was just like, God damn, it's so colorful. Like
it looks like you took like 3 or 4 different snakes and smushed them all together, because they've got like the sky blue on top of the head, and then the black underneath with the cream, and then all this, and then down into into the stripes, down the solid stripe down the back, and I'm like,
yeah,
it's like cramming 4 different snakes into one snake.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Awesome. They're so cool looking. They're crazy.
Yes. Did you find it challenging to breed those, the ones that you bred so far, or were they pretty easy for?
So I kind of just had them in together. I have it's like a 4x3x2. It's like one of those, like, it's a really big, long or tall AP. And I just had them in there, take them out, feed. It was actually pretty easy, but it was really funny because when I was incubating the eggs, I was told by one of my friends. He said, "Yeah, I just keep it at room temperature." So I was like, "Okay." And then someone's like, "Wait, you need to incubate it like 15 degrees higher." And I'm like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna do?" And they took like 90 days. They took a long time to hatch, and they were just fat fucking baby. Sorry.
No,
They were
it doesn't matter.
gigantic. And I was like, "Oh my god!" My friend's like, "That's like how big some of my yearlings are." Dude, Jesus,
Lord.
I think that just goes to show, though, that we kind of pigeonhole a lot of reptiles into this box of like, you have to incubate it at 85 to 90 degrees. You cannot let it drop a little bit. And it's like, man, these things they don't have an incubator in the wild. They're laying them under a log someplace and hoping that it stays warm enough for them to hatch out, you know?
Yeah.
And even if it takes a little bit longer, I think that what it comes down to, that sort of thing, people are on a schedule because we need to be able to calculate to say, okay, I need to know they're going to hatch this time so that I can start feeding them at this time, and then I can start selling them at this time. Whereas like naturally they're just going to they have their own
schedule,
their own schedule. They're doing their own thing, and they can survive at that, that cooler temperature. It's like Owen was saying on NPR. He's like, oh yeah, there was one year that I got a clutch of carpet pythons and I put them in the incubator, and then a month later I realized I never plugged the incubator in, so they've been sitting at 70 degrees for a month. And he's like, I plugged it in and they still hatched out. It took them an extra 20 days, but they still hatched out.
Oh god.
It happens, man. Stuff happens.
It does for sure. I think also it plays too, in like when you're talking about species that have such wide ranges. So you've got all these different climate ranges that they're going through anyway. It's like, yeah, those eggs are not all sitting at 85 degrees like at all
for the entire time.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I was one of my friend, actually Josh Ortiz, he bred Blue Beauties for a while, and he was saying that one of the things that like really triggered his to court and start breeding was he would spray them down, and that you think that it was like one of the triggers that they use in the wild is when they get the rains coming through. That's when they'll often go out and seek each other out to breed, and I always just remember that. Always sticks in the back of my head whenever I see Blue Beauties. I'm like, oh man, you gotta spray those things down crazy when you're breeding them. It's just, you know. So you said you're gonna try and breed the Ridley Eye this year?
Yeah, they're in together right now. They've just been cuddling under they have like a huge hide in there. So hopefully something happens. Fingers crossed. Really hope so.
Hell yeah.
They're so pretty. The female, especially, I have is just like again, like just go like that really nice blue, and then like the orange and the yellow. The male's a little bit more. He isn't as he's still pretty. He's just a little bit more like pastel. I think he's not as old, but
Okay.
we'll get there hopefully.
Yeah. That'll be really, really cool. Really, really cool. And then you've bred Southern White Lip Pythons.
Yes.
I technically did. So the thing is, I hate the story, but I don't mind talking about it. But so I got eggs. I was cleaning the room one day. I just walked in there to like, sometimes I'll just, look at them or whatever. And I almost like shit my pants. I was like, oh my God, there's eggs right there. So I wasn't prepared for it at all. I thought it'd be another couple months or so because she didn't really look gravid. She was just kind of there.
Yeah.
So I set up the incubator and everything, but it happened so like that 2-week period was like a really hard time for me because my parents are coming to visit. There's also like I was going into finals week at school in my last semester of college, so I was just like my head was like everywhere. And so something happened with my incubator and it spiked like really bad. So all the eggs just and I was so depressed about it. Yeah. I was like, do I sell everything? I'm just like so sad. Like I can't even go to my reptile room right now. Oh my God. But I got over it because if I've done it before, I can do it again. So just
that's what I was gonna say. It is all part of the process, and things like that do happen sometimes, and it is so like painful to deal with. And then at this, like, some people do just choose to just throw everything in then and just say, you know what, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I think that being able to take a step back and just like feel it and just be like, that really sucked. But like you said, if you did it once, you can do it again. And I think that is like a really great mindset to have when it comes to this thing, because literally all these are just living creatures and things happen. You got to figure in the wild, there's got to be situations like that where a female sitting on eggs and then a predator comes along and eats all of the eggs, or they go through a period of where they don't get any rain or flooding, and that stuff happens. It's like last year with my Barneck scrubs, I got twins in the clutch and I was like super excited about it. And then since they're so small, we see this a lot of times with twins in like every species of reptile, because they're sometimes sharing yolk resources. When they come out, they're smaller, they're weaker, and I lost both of those. And it was just like it sucks, but it's something that kind of comes with the territory. When you're creating life, it can also have death too. It's all part of the cycle of life,
Yeah, I was so devastated because also the male, because the female was mine, but the male was a friend's, Aaron, who's in the chat right now. So I was like, oh man, like I have to tell him. Oh my fucking God, I'm so sad. He was pretty chill, but he said, no, shit happens. So again, trying again this year, and I have 2 pairs going right now. So I'm sure like I got an ovulation from one big girl. So hopefully, fingers crossed. Again, so like making sure again, there's no finals, not doing anything, no one's visiting me. No one's visiting me for the next year.
Right, exactly. Block everything out in the calendar. Like, no, this time is snake time. That's it.
Yeah, nothing else. I have plans. Yeah, so I really hope it goes well this year if I do get eggs. But again, yeah, that sucks so bad. And I went through this like really big, like honestly, like a depression of just like I was so upset because I'd planned on doing that for years, and then it happened, and then it just got messed up, and I was just like devastated beyond, like it was just horrible. But thankfully I got myself back on my feet. But yeah, that really sucked a lot.
Yeah,
because I got people be like, "Oh, where are your babies? Did they've hatched yet?" And I was like, "I don't have the heart to."
I don't even want to talk about it right now. Yeah,
I'm gonna block you.
Yeah.
Well, I've
God.
got my fingers crossed that this year you'll be able to get some really great babies out of them because, like I said, or like you said, if you can do it once, you can do it again, and it's really exciting for me to see people be successful with it. I honestly consider even just getting eggs success because there's so many people who've got them and keep, not specifically talking about white lip pythons, but get their gold species that they want, and they're trying and trying and trying and can't get the female to cycle, can't get eggs, can't get fertilized eggs, or get babies to go full term and then end up dying in the egg, or babies don't establish. And I feel like a lot of that is not as regularly talked about when it comes to like people see, oh, Rob bred a clutch of scrub pythons, and it's like, yeah, you don't understand like how many times I thought I was going to get it and then I didn't, and everything was looking like it was supposed to happen and then it didn't, and then I had babies that wouldn't establish and just starve themselves to death, and it's like, they're like, yeah, but like you bred scrub pythons. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you understand. It's not just I was successful once. It's like I had so many failures that led up to that success that people don't see that stuff a lot of the time. They don't take it into consideration because I guess social media is just like the highlight reels. Everyone's like, everything's amazing, everything's so cool, everything is perfect, and
not really.
No, it's
I'm
tough.
crying.
Yeah, I cried a lot. So, so what other species are you working with? You say you've got some Pituophis. You do a lot the beauty snakes.
Yeah, I'm doing on the side. It's kind of like side-ish projects, but I'll have a lot of like Western hognose morphs. And this year, I'm trying to get visual leucistics. So,
very cool.
but the male might be like the slightest bit too small because the girl's like, I'm ready to go, let's go, give me some dick. But the male's like, it's like
amazing
head bobbing thing. She's like, I'm ready. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And he's like, scared. Oh my god, you're huge. So we'll see. Maybe next year, but I mean, at least she's up to weight. So I'll just hang in there.
You can always give her another season of just getting food into her. I will say my one word of advice, and this is unsolicited advice from me right now, but watch them while you're breeding them. My male albino anaconda got eaten by a female.
Yeah, I've never had that. I've been breeding them for a couple of years now, and I've never experienced it, but I've heard like horror stories of like, oh, my female ate my male, that and I'm like, I swear to God that better not happen to me, but it hasn't happened. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I'm so
it happened while I was at Nerd. Like literally, we had paired them up. We had paired them up, and then somebody was like, "Oh yeah, we went through and fed the hognose snakes," and I was like, "Wait, you went and fed the hognose snakes?" They're all paired up, and I was like, "Oh man, I gotta go check on them." And I look in there, and I'm like, "There's supposed to be a male in here. Did anyone move this male? Oh no, you didn't move this male. No, you didn't move this male. Oh yeah, she's really thick. Oh my god.
I feel like it's an even harder sting when it's a species that like can have some elements of cannibalism, but it's really
not
uncommon.
Yeah.
It's not like a king snake or something, so when that happens, you're just like,
you're like,
why?
That's never happened. Fingers crossed it never happens, but
right.
That's a big risk. I'm
I didn't even think that it was like I've heard that it's a thing, and I was like, that doesn't really happen, and then it happened, and I was like,
maybe once in a blue moon, and then it happened to you. I think you jinxed yourself.
Literally. I was like, well, that sucks.
Oh man. So with the Pituophis, what species are you focused on the most?
So I had I was planning on black pines a while ago, but I ended up letting those go, and I kind of missed them, to be honest. But I have leucistic southern pines that I'm gonna go next year. My female's like really pink, and the male's like really not pink. He's just like white, and I hope he keeps that. We'll see what babies come out to be. And then other than that, it's just bull snake morphs, like stillwater hypos, albinos, kind of stuff. But I kind of want to get like, I miss my black pines, but for a while last year, it's 2024. Dear God, I downsized a lot because I was planning on applying to grad school soon, and that's going to take up so much of my time. And like realistically, I don't want to be neglecting my animals while I'm, studying or working.
Yep.
And so just
right.
having to like really like sit down, like, okay, like what do I really want to keep? What do I really want to work with? What can I let go? So I had to kind of go through that, and they were one of the pairs I let go. But I'm like, man, why did I do that? But
Yeah, I feel that though, because when I was in New Hampshire, I had a pair of Southern Pine or Black Pines, and was like, all right, well, I'm moving. I'll leave them in New Hampshire. So I sent them with a friend of mine, and I'm just like, man, I really miss those snakes, man. They're such a fun species, and like I have a few other species of pits, but I don't know, something about the Black Pines. They're just a little different. Like you see the brain click a little differently than with some of the other Pituophis, and I'm just like,
it's the murder. Yeah, they're thinking about murdering you.
The murder.
I don't know, man. When I saw something click in their mind, I was like, "Oh, that's the pin. They're about to pull the trigger right now."
No, no. It was actually like the opposite. Like when like the female that I had was like ready to go for blood. Like as soon as you would open up the enclosure, but you get her out, and then it's hiss, 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 and then it finally is just like, okay, you're not gonna hurt me, so I guess we can be cool. And then once they're in that like thinking mode, you're like, see,
cool,
life's not that bad. But I haven't seen it exist in quite the same way with the other pits. So I definitely do miss that about the Black Pines. So yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Like, damn, why did I let those?
I mean, I have an indigo now, which is like kind of not really the same thing, but like kind of in spirit, I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's an Eastern indigo?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Those are so nice.
Disposal right now.
Every time that you're like, man, something didn't eat to the indigo.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's got to have a garbage disposal.
True. I just remember there used to be this video on YouTube. I don't think it exists anymore on YouTube, but it was somebody who was breeding the rubidis, the Drymarchon rubidis, and they were feeding them pigs, like fetal pigs. And I was like, how are you feeding a colibrid pigs? I don't understand. And it was just like,
she's like happy. She's like, that's the best day of my life. Oh my
God.
Yeah, right.
I was like, man, this thing's gonna pop, I swear.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I had a video. It was like an Instagram reel. I gave my indigo. I had some stillborn hognoses like a year ago, so I was feeding her one of them. Just nothing goes to waste. And there was a little bit of like the aspen chip like substrate. It was like a couple like chips on it, and someone were like, "He's gonna die now."
Impaction.
And I was like, "You could literally feed that thing anything; it would pass it. Anything."
Yeah.
And not only will it pass it will pass it in 6 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll take like a business day, and it's out. Like,
and it will paint it up the wall of the enclosure.
Oh gosh. I don't miss any of that. The poo painters.
I will say the same thing. Bolin's pythons are like that, and I don't miss that.
Yes. Yep. Sorry to crush your dreams, everybody who wants a Bolin's python, but but they poop
a lot
everywhere.
Too much, almost.
Oh man. So I know on your Instagram. Oh, sorry, Rob.
No,
on your Instagram, you had a picture of a divergence.
Yeah.
Do you have some Boega species as well that you're working with?
I don't plan on breeding them. I just kind of have them because I wanted to at first, but then I heard sometimes it can be difficult. Sometimes getting the babies to establish is like a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I'm going to deal with that. Maybe one day, not right now. One day, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I just have my divergence right now. I used to have like the black silhouette and the green cat eye, but I'm just down to one. It's one of the ones I downsized on just to have. And I've thought about breeding them in the future, but again, just right now she's just here. She's just great.
Heck yeah. I mean, also if you're gonna have just one Boega.
It has to be that one.
It's got to be that one. Like, hell yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to ask: are there? So you downsize a little bit on the Boiga, and you don't plan on, or you're not really focused on breeding them. Is that something that you would want to like expand on in the future, or that you're just like content with the ones you got?
Right now, I'm happy with what I have. I think I've been shifting a lot to just like keeping like isopods and like invertebrates, just because they're a lot low maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Just put the veggies in, and then you're set for like a week.
Yep.
But maybe again in the future, I'd want to expand. It's just so a couple years ago, I used to have a facility, so I had a lot of room. But then the landlord was kind of shitty to us. Like at one point, it was either the heater or the AC just stopped working, and I asked for them to repair it. They're like, "No, you actually have to pay for it." And it was just this like back and forth. I was like, "That's not a thing." So I just found them a new tenant, and I moved everything into my house, which limited me on space. But I made it work. But then kind of just downsized more and more from there, because I just realistically not fair to the animals, because from going to having all this space to like being crammed and a little bit. So that sucked. But again, if I ever had the chance to get in a bigger house or have a facility, I'd probably want to expand again. It just depends like what I'm doing and what time I have realistically.
True.
Whatever time you have, it's just not enough.
Yeah. Exactly.
The realest thing about reptile keeping.
Yeah, literally.
How much time am I going to be cleaning poop? A lot more than you think.
Yes.
Yeah.
People are like, but the Instagram photos, and I'm like, I don't think you understand how much poop I shovel.
Yeah, right.
You know how many water bowls I've been cleaning?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For one Instagram photo, I have cleaned 50 tubs. Like
bare minimum.
Right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Oh gosh. So is there a species that I know, since you're kind of like focusing on just like really specific things, is there one species that you're kind of like, man, I wish I could get one of those, or like I really want to keep one of those just for the experience?
I've really wanted diamond pythons. I just don't have the space for that right now.
Right.
I wish though, because they're all taken by like my white lips. They're just taking up the entire bedroom, basically at this point. But I'd like to get more back into some pythons again, like the diamonds and stuff, but just realistically just kind of sticking with what I've got right now. But I'd like more pits. I used to have a lot more, but again, they take up a lot of space, especially when they get bigger, because they're just monsters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people realize quite how large some of those pit species can get.
Yeah, I had a southern patternless pine, this like big boy, and he was like 6-7 feet. He was ginormous.
Yep.
And I had to let him go because I just didn't have the space like anymore. I just couldn't fit any more enclosures in my house, and I was like, he doesn't deserve to be shoved in something small. It's not just because I want to keep him. So one of those decisions that's like sucks so bad, but you have to think about the welfare of the animal as well, not just I want this because I want it.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
I think that one of the things that makes it so hard is like photographing a 7-foot pit is not super easy.
Yeah, and he was spicy too. He was angry all the time. So I'd like try to hold him. He'd be like thrashing around like a wet noodle, and I can't take a picture of you.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things. Like people don't see a lot of pictures of like adult scrubs. Like I think that Stephen Kush is the only person that's posting pictures of adult scrubs, because it's just like it's hard to get a 11 or 12-foot scrub python out, and then also get it in frame and have it be like visually appealing.
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes big snakes aren't fun.
Yeah, I have like my one retic, and I don't know how. Like whenever I clean her, I'm like, how do people have like multiples of these
30 of them? Yeah,
like, even like 10 or 5, like that. She's a lot sometimes. She's an adult female. She's like maybe 14, 15 feet, and she just unloads, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of cleaning.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, when I think of people who they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting into retic breeding, so I've got 10 pairs, I got 20 animals. I'm like,
how?
What, 20 reticulated pythons? Are you kidding me right now?
My head.
I was like, they all must be under 10 feet right now because 20
Yeah.
10-foot reticulated pythons is a lot of reticulated
Yeah.
python.
Yeah, she has her entire cage takes up like half of my living room right now. Like, where do you have the room for that?
Literally.
And again, either that or they're shoved in like a 4-foot. But yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
You're like,
Yeah,
that's too
yeah,
much. That's
right.
another headache. But yeah,
Right.
it's a lot. Because again, at
Ooh.
one point I was like, maybe I want to breed retics. I was like, what am I? No. And my brain turned on. And I was like, wait, no, I don't.
Amazing.
Yeah, I do have my my Argentines though, so they've been locking here and there. But I talked to a couple people and they said even though they're like my female's like 6 feet, maybe get a little bit bigger because they haven't had success about like maybe 7, 8 feet. So I'm probably just gonna feed her more. But because the male's like slightly bigger than her, but they were locking for a little bit, but I don't think there was an ovulation, so I don't know. But at least they're friendly with each other.
Do you know how old they are roughly?
So I know the male's like 6, 7-ish, because he's bigger, and the female. Funny story. So I got her. I saw an ad. Usually, I'll go on Craigslist just to look for like enclosures or like racks or like something, and I noticed it was like it was a listing for a female cocker K or crawler K. And I have a male, so I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "That is not a crawler K." Oh my god! I wanted it for like very, very nice price. So I went to go meet him and I was just curious and asked him questions. He's like, yeah, I got it from like a pet store. So I think she's like 4. She was like maybe 4 when I got her. Now she's like 6. So gotta wait a little bit more, but she's growing well. She's great. So that's another species I hope to produce at some point.
The Argentine boas are really cool, and I've seen some like really big ones before, and I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know boas can get this.
You get that big,
this thick."
Yeah,
beef.
Crazy.
Heck
I guess that'll satisfy the retic breeding in me. It's simple.
Right. It's a big snake. It's a big snake.
Yeah, when the babies come out and they're like this big around and like this big, you're like,
yeah, this is
what is this? You're the size of a 3-year-old carpet python. It's ridiculous.
Oh gosh, that's right. All the Morelia keepers. Now's your time to be offended. Your babies are tiny.
That's okay.
Oh
it's not about
gosh.
the size
Surely.
Right.
Eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Dang.
So you've been branching out into the isopods. Do you have like a favorite species that you're working with right now, or?
I want to say like those like ember bees, but I feel like that's everyone's favorite. But they're up there in the top 5 list. But I really like those the green spots. I think the Trogodillo, I think is the name. Technically, I just know they're the green spots, and they under a light they look almost like neon, like a highlighter. So those are really cool. They've been breeding for me, which is great.
Cool.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
That's pretty awesome.
Heck yeah.
I feel like for a while there was a moment, like a cultural moment in isopods where everyone was just on the rubber duckies and they were like, these are the greatest things ever. Nothing will ever beat a rubber ducky.
I'm so glad things have beaten the rubber ducky.
I don't know, man.
They're still super popular, but like they're not. It wasn't the hype and the craze from like a couple years ago. I remember they were going for like 200 for like a thing of 10. Like I was like, oh my god! And now I'm selling like 8 for 80, which is like still a good deal. Like it's still up there, but like it's not all the way up here.
Yeah.
So,
and then I've seen that people are bringing in those like armored ones, the ones that've got all the spines on them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, those things are cool.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder if those are going to become like mainstream like not mainstream popular, but like I bet you if someone did a really good marketing campaign with isopods, they could be something that a lot of homes have. Because think about it, in the 80s and 90s, they sold what? Sea monkeys, brine shrimp. They were like, hey, some sea monkeys. And it's like, oh, y'all just have a bunch of brine shrimp that you got in your house. And
okay.
yeah, they drew a cute little like mer person on the front of the package, and people were like, sea monkeys. I like sea monkeys. So I'm just thinking, like, if one good PR person did a little campaign with an isopod with a goofy face on it, I bet you that you could have them in 80% of the houses in the US.
I feel like they're just getting so much more popular because they're easy and they're small. You don't get a giant tank for them, but yeah, I feel like because I did a reptile show a couple of weeks ago, and I was just selling like I had other snakes and like stuff there, but everyone was like isopods. Where's your isopods? So
Yeah.
I did great there, which is for cleanup crew and also just for pets. You just okay, and then that's it.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things that people will find with the isopods is like, yeah, you can keep them in a tote, or you can make a really nice like planted enclosure, and you'll still
Yeah.
see them in there. Like, you won't see them as frequently, but you'll still see them in there, and you'll have a nice tank to look at in your room.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for all of that. It's really intriguing how something as simple as isopods like took this industry by storm.
Really did. I'm not mad
Like,
about it though, but yeah.
no, not at all. Not at all. I think it was cool to see kind of that lane get created, right? From going from just like, oh yeah, we've got these really cool planted enclosures to like, how do we make this kind of setup more self-sufficient? And then it's like, bam, there's 75 new businesses selling isopods, but it was really, and then the ball python guys were like, I think I can handle some isopods, so it's like 7 displays of ball pythons and then like a little shelf of of some isopods, like, yeah, here, take these, they can clean up your ball python poop if you buy a ball python over there.
Bruh.
But it was cool to kind of see that come onto the scene and see some people that have really just like taken it and run with it, and especially when there are some really cool species that are appealing to look at. Just like you think about a roly-poly and you just think about what you see in your backyard, so to be like, no man, take a look at this, like in a light, it looks neon, and it's just like, what? So
yeah, the
I
ones
think
that
that's
I
kind of cool.
really like, I don't the Porcelia, I think they're Werneri. They're like the really flat, the Greek shields. I call them like the flat fucks because they're just like
Yep.
you.
They're awesome
I
though.
love them. Yeah, I have some. They started breeding for me. I'm like, oh, dear little flat fucks going on. They're so cute.
That's perfect.
I like some of the bigger species because, like, you look at them and you're like, oh, that's like a pretty cool looking isopod, and then you see like a scale, like something that scales how big they are, and you're like, oh my god, that thing's fucking huge.
Yeah, like the Titans. They're just I have some, and there's like I call him my Big Bertha because he's just like this big ass male. Like he's like this big, like he's huge. I'm like, I'll like go to make, like water them. Like, where's Big Bertha? And he's fucking so big. I think there's just so cool, like all the diversity just throughout the world. It's just crazy. You can just like flip a rock somewhere, like in Greece. Oh, look at this.
Yes, they're so common around the world that as you can see different things no matter where you are. I thought it was funny because we would get people who would come into the shop and be like, I want like just whatever your like most common isopods are, and I was like, you can like go get some outside, right? And they're like, no, I want to like get the captive, I want to get these ones, and I'm like, you can literally just go put a piece of wood outside and then come back in
a couple days, in like
3 days, and there will be isopods under it, I promise.
Yep. It's like, no, I want yours in your plastic cup. That's that's what I want. Oh man,
I just think about
no sense.
I've seen pictures recently of the ones that like actually roll up and they're like huge. They're like bigger than a 50-cent piece. They're like these giant freaking roly polies, and I'm like, oh man. And they're like, yeah, we can't really get them over here because USDA pays attention to those more than the little tiny ones. Because one of the things that I was talking to one of my friends who does like entomology is like, yeah, we don't really know how a lot of these isopods are getting into the US right now. And there's like no legal documentation of them being exported or them moving across state lines or anything like that. And I don't know how legal all of that is. And I was like, oh man, I did not even think about that.
It's probably the furthest thing from your brain when you're talking about an isopod. Like, oh, is this roly-poly legal?
Well,
Like,
my thought is like, is it invasive? Is it something that'll
from yes,
destroy our native roly-polies?
from that standpoint, 100%, I could see the concern, but the legality aspect, like, if FWC starts pulling up a
I was just
these
gonna say,
isopods are banned.
imagine going to jail over some roly-polies, bro.
Right.
Like,
What are you in for?
Yeah.
Land crabs. Like,
yeah. Land
Like,
crustaceans.
I'm in for murder. What are you in for? Like, I bug.
Yeah, I've had some bugs that
Crustacean
I
little
wasn't
guy.
supposed to bring, and I moved them
Come-
across state lines.
Come out back. I'll show you where I put this wood down. This is exactly what I came in for.
Bro, could you
Oh
imagine?
my god, dude. That's maximum security. Isopods. Oh my gosh. We're laughing about this now, but the reality is it could be a thing.
Yeah, it could be very well a thing.
I swear to God, if I have to make an alert video with Phil about protecting isopods.
Yeah, don't jinx yourself.
Yeah, right.
For real.
I'm gonna be very upset and flabbergasted at all of this happening.
I remember when the Poecilotheria ban went up, and I was like, wait a second, they're talking about spiders right now. Why are there spiders on the US ARC list right now?
Right. No, it's true, man. I just recalled testifying at Maine and being like, you want little Jimmy to have 100 hours of learning that you go poke the tortoise with some lettuce to get it to eat? Like, what are we doing? So imagine the testimony for the roly-poly. Somebody needs 100 hours to figure out you just put some wood in your backyard and they freaking show up. What are we doing, guys?
I don't know, man. Some of these regulatory bodies are run by people without brains. It's kind of terrifying. They're like jellyfish. It's like,
dude, they got isopods up there. That's so.
That's being generous.
Oh gosh.
Have you been to the Tinley show?
Me? I wanted to. I was gonna go last year, but I just couldn't pull it together. There was some stuff going on, but I plan to this year in October. I really, really, really want to.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I thought I remember you saying like posting that you were trying to go there. Yeah. But there is a vendor, or there was the last time I was there. There's a vendor that sells like 3D printed isopods, and they're big. They're like this big, 4, 5, 6 inches long. And they literally sold out on the first day. Like, they had a couple hundred of them, and they sold out on the first day. Like, vendor load-in day, they sold out of them. And the whole weekend was people walking around being like, hey, where'd you get this isopod thing? I really want to get one of those.
They'd probably buy a bunch. If he's back there again, I hope he is, because that's something I would definitely buy. So like, I can't buy a new animal this time, but you know what I'm gonna get?
I'm getting this
roly-poly to watch me in my sleep. Perfect.
Yes.
Oh God.
Man. I'm hoping that I can make Tinley work this year too. It's been a while since I've gone, and I miss hanging out with all the people at Tinley.
Yeah, I've heard
we need Rob at Tinley.
I've heard that Tinley's more of, because I've done the Pomona Super Show a bunch, and I've gone there a bunch. It's just packed, and it's very vendor heavy. But I've heard that like the Tinley show is more of like all the vendors are just hanging out sort of vibe, kind of. Yes. Okay.
Yep, 100%. I think that's one of the things that has. I mean, because Tinley is the longest running NARBC show, but it just has that history of like, because it's in the middle of the country, right? So you got people from the East and the West Coast coming in, and it's one of those few points where like everybody's there that will see each other, and that might be the only time that year that they all see each other. So it really does become like the family reunion kind of vibe, which is I think one of the things that keeps it going so strong all these years later. Because this will be what, 22 years I think this year will be. the show's been going on, which is insane. It's definitely stood the test of time. That is for sure. Randomly on that point, the other day, Lenny and I were we popped in the old Herpers DVD, the Dave Kaufman Herpers DVD, and Brian Potter from 15 years ago does not look like Brian Potter now.
You mean that he's gotten more handsome and better looking?
Okay.
And smarter.
Okay. I took a picture of him then, and I took a picture of Robin from Redline, and I texted the picture to Robin, and he was like, "Don't watch that video." No, he was like, "Holy throwback, man. Is that the Kaufman video?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Good Lord."
Bro.
Oh,
I actually like that movie. It was pretty interesting listening to the interviews.
No, me too, man. It was a fun bit of nostalgia to go back to, for sure. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. He was talking about Tinley. It's like if Potter looked very different 15 years ago.
I mean, I looked very different 15 years ago.
So. I mean, me too, Rob. Me too.
I don't know if you know this, but Jeremy had a push broom mustache when he was when he was 16 years old. The first time that I saw him, I thought that he was 40.
Yep. And I wasn't even 20. That's
he wasn't even 20 at
the time. Times have changed for the better.
And Jeremy he's been getting younger and younger ever since.
Like Benjamin Button in real life.
Exactly. I'll take it.
I wanted to ask real quick too. Do you still have your speckled rattlesnake?
Yeah, I still have both of them.
Ooh.
Yeah, the male, he's kind of tricky though, because I guess when we shipped last year, the year before last year, it was like November, maybe December. It was pretty cold. It was just like the last window to get anything out. And I guess I'm assuming my hypothesis is that he put himself into brumation mode, basically, because they were eating solidly before they got to me, and then the girl has been eating great ever since, but the male has been like struggling. So I tried everything like under the sun with like braining and this and live and frozen and scenting and different enclosures and everything, but I just couldn't get him to eat. So I've been kind of just unfortunately just having to like assist feed him just to keep some weight on him, but being tricky. I've had stuff like that happen before where just it doesn't click, and then one day it's like, oh my god, finally. So
yeah,
hopefully soon, because the female's like huge. She's on like small adult mice, and he's like, I'm still struggling with my fuzzy mice. So hopefully we'll get there.
I love speckled rattlesnakes. They are really, really just like really beautiful. And when I went herping in Utah, we saw one, but the area, the like locale where we were at, it was like pink, like a reddish pink color. And I don't want to give any like spots away or anything, but we were like climbing this area, and they're like, oh yeah, they're around here. So just like when you're climbing around, just like look, and it's pitch black outside. It's nighttime, and they're like, oh, we got one over here. And I'm looking, and it's like, this is the trail where everybody's walking. And it was sitting right here on a rock that like, while you're going up, you would just be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to grab this rock real quick to climb up right here. And I was like, I 100% would have put my hand on that thing. Like it is right there.
Oof.
Yeah. But there's such a unique species. And I think it's really interesting that like you get all the way from like these stark white ones to the like really heavily modeled ones, and then you get all the way up to like the pinkish red ones.
Yeah, and there's some blue ones. I used to have a blue like, a long time ago too, and there's just it's rep in America, I guess, but the variation is pretty cool.
Are there any other species that are like venomous that you want to get?
As of right now, not really. I've just my main focus. I just have my white specs, and then I have a Hellerai or like the Southern Sopak. But that's about it
Mhm.
right now. I used to have Atrox, but again, downsized because they're insane. Also,
Yeah, I was just
Yep.
gonna say, like,
Yep.
also fucking crazy. So
yes,
For no reason.
yeah, for no reason at
yeah,
all, just on crack, just 24/7.
all the time.
Yeah.
But I've thought about moving and like, if I did move, like I could have access to like this, and this, but like do I even really want to expand or am I okay
Yeah.
right now? I think I'm okay right now, but I have a
Mhm.
lot of respect for a lot of like my venomous friend keepers. Hats off to them. I just not maybe not for me right now. Maybe one day, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
fine with like, what I have right now. I'm comfortable with it.
hell yeah.
Heck
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, Kristen and I went to the Greenville, North Carolina Reptile Expo. I think it's called the Mid Atlantic Show or something. And they have venomous there. And so we were like talking about the rattlesnakes, and then we got over to the Atrox, and I was like, "These are the worst ones." Like these are. I literally told her, I was like, "Look, all snakes have two wires that touch in their head, except for Atrox. Theirs don't quite touch, and there's like every 500 you'll meet one where the wires touch, but all the rest of them, it's like
Or
this. There's something
insane.
wrong with them."
Mhm.
Oh gosh.
Honestly, what I think it is that the rattlesnake roundups killed all the really nice, easy, chill
Mhm.
going ones, and then all
Easy
the
to
ones that
grab.
have survived are the
Just on like fight or
assholes
flight
that,
right now, probably.
yeah, they have all this generational trauma of,
Oh god.
Southern people going through and killing all their family members, that they're just like, humans are evil.
Like my ancestors are
Lord.
speaking to me. I can't let my guard down.
I can't trust you.
Right.
Must nobody.
Oh gosh.
Must be insane always. Yeah.
Never trust a white man.
Oh gosh. Screaming.
So I was like, we just don't even need to look at those. We can look at something else. So
Yeah.
they
Anything
had,
else?
yeah, they had a Melosis right there, and I was like, these are much better. I like these much more.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, as a rattlesnake geek myself, like when I was contemplating, like, oh, I would love to have a bunch of different rattlesnake species. Atrox never made that list.
Never, not
Like,
on the
Both of
list.
them are
at all.
pretty, but like I don't think I want an Atrox ever again because
No.
the
Yeah,
pair I
no.
had were bad shit. So
Yep. That's I just always think back to that albino Atrox at Nerd, dude.
Oof,
Like
that thing
just
was scary.
massive. Yeah, I mean it was freaking massive and just psycho. Like absolute psycho. And I remember like Timmy periodically when he would come in to do stuff in the room would be like, "Hey, you want to just like be my extra set of eyes while I go handle this Atrox? Like, God forbid anything happens." And I'm like, "Okay." And then watch the thing launch out of a freaking 2-foot deep cage. I'm just like, Jesus, why? You didn't even do anything.
Yeah, for real. All you did was open the enclosure, and it's like, time to die.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I woke up and I chose violence just like I do every day.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, pass on the Atrox. Anybody listening, thinking about
Yeah.
owning rattlesnakes, Atrox, not
Just not
necessary.
the Atrox.
yeah, I remember when I was talking to someone at like a show like once, and they were like, we were just talking back and forth. What do you keep? Da, 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 da. And he was like, yeah, I want to get into venomous one day. I think I want to start with an Atrox. And I was like, I looked at him and said, why?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Crazy. Anything else but that, please.
Yeah.
They're like, well, here's the deal. I think that if I cannot get bit by an Atrox,
I can
then I can
handle
work
it.
with anything. I'm like, you're like, okay, we are not doing if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball right now.
Yeah. But
'Cause
we
the
are,
wrench has-
Rob.
the wrench comes with, guess what? $8,000 of vials of Crowfab, man, and 10 of them. No, thank you.
Mhm.
No, pass. Pass.
Hard
Yeah, I'll
pass.
pass on that.
Oh gosh. There's your lesson, everybody. If you get
Stay away from the
nothing from this, just know to stay away from the Atrox. Oh man. Sheesh. Well, I didn't even realize how fast the time was going by, but we're hitting this hour mark, which is crazy.
For real.
So before we go, we ask all of our guests one final wrap-up question. So that question is, what in the realm of reptiles, be it something that you've got in your own collection or something that maybe you've seen online, what in the realm of reptiles has you excited about reptiles right now?
Is that for me or for?
Yep,
for anyone,
for you.
anything
Oh,
you've
okay.
seen.
Anybody.
Yeah.
I think. Well, if I'll answer that, I guess really quick. I think seeing, I believe it's Ari who's working with who's had some, at least I saw eggs from captive bolins. That's pretty cool. I think that was a little
Dang.
bit ago. Maybe I'm hallucinating right now.
I know that he's got a lot of bolins. I don't know if he's gotten eggs from them yet. I know that there have been a couple people in the U.S. that have produced them.
Okay. Then I'm late to the party.
No, it's not a common thing. Trust me. It's literally just been,
it's
I think, in the
definitely
last
not.
year that a couple people have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Heck
So,
yeah.
And very
I'm
probably
here for it.
unattainable for me, but cool. I'll
Honestly,
enjoy watching other people enjoy that.
I don't think that it'll be completely unattainable. I think that it's one of those things that once some of the captive born babies are reaching mature size, we're going to start seeing more people be successful with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the history for bolins has been a lot of wild caught animals that have established themselves on the biorhythms of Southeast Asia, and they get here and they just don't adjust to our rhythms here. And then the people who are getting babies who are born in a Western setting or born in a captive setting, I guess, and then raised from a very small size here, I think that we're going to start to see more people be successful with those.
Yeah, that's my hope with Southerns as well. Just there's so many like imports, and they're just all, because there has been successful people. Like I know Lisa, who I know she's here now. She's had 2 successful clutches. She's great. I've been talking to her a lot.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, my hope is to see more of that because, like I see, I just see a lot of like imports coming in, and they're all scarred up and everything.
Mhm.
Hopefully, having that market more saturated with captive bred stuff for all species across the board is just something.
Mhm.
I changed my answer. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
That's where the
for
fuck it's at.
Mhm.
And if people want to see the things you're working with or keep up with what you're doing, where should they follow you?
Instagram. I'm really bad at it though, because I'm just working a lot and I forget that I have a camera. But I'll try my best. I'll do better. I promise. Instagram and Facebook primarily.
And it's just exotic entities or exotic.entities, right?
Yeah, on Facebook it's Kina May Snakes because they were like, we can't have the word exotic because
Oh,
yeah, a different whole different realm,
different thing.
sector completely.
All right.
Lord.
Well, thank
Heck
you
yeah.
so much for coming on. I
Thank you for having
appreciate
me.
I appreciate the time, and I've got all my fingers crossed that you'll be successful this year, and I really hope that you're successful with the cave dwellers too. I love Ridley Eyes.
Yes.
Well, thanks.
So thank you very much
Heck
for coming on, and we'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you later.
All right, bye. Thanks.